Okay guys, welcome back to video 8.2. So just a reminder again that when I upload the videos on my YouTube channel, it doesn't have full stops and underscores and all the nice little punctuation that I put in the titles. So it's just like a random, says video 8 space 2 space and then what the video is about. So we are continuing direct and indirect speech now. And we have looked at normal sentences where you add a dot. We have looked at commands and we have looked at questions. Now we're going to look at exclamations. So exclamations is uitroepsinne. There's an uitroep when you call out, you shout, and then it's the type of sentence. Uitroepsinne. So earlier I mentioned that you must please, or just remember that how we test exclamations in exams are by putting in interjection. So an interjection is a tussenwerpsel in Afrikaans. That's an interjection. Is a tussenwerpsel in Afrikaans. And then with the tussenwerpsel, you need to think of a way to paraphrase it. So let's call it beskrywe. Because you are not allowed to have a tussenwerpsel in your indirect answer. So let's write here. Let's make a little red note. So die tussenwerpsel is vir die direkte rede. And the beskrywing is what you will use in the indirekte rede. All right, so you will never have the tussenwerpsel in the indirect and you'll never have the description in the direct. So let's start with a list. So interjections are like, wow, shoo, ouch, things like that. Yay. That is with everything you have a different emotion that is connected to the interjection. So let's list a few and then we'll go through what they mean. So if I say Aina, that's an interjection. Aina. That's an interjection. So when you have an interjection, you can either have the exclamation right after the interjection and then a normal statement after that, or you can have the interjection, comma, complete your sentence and put the exclamation at the end. You can maybe have ach nee, oh no. Okay. Hurrah is one they like asking. Hurrah means you are excited, you're shouting, yay. So then you say hurrah in Afrikaans, not yay, it is hurrah. When you comfort someone, you're like hush hush, it's okay. Dan is dit toe maar in Afrikaans. You can have what? What are you saying? Like that question word can also be an interjection because sometimes you'll just go, oh, what? Or what? Like it depends on your emotion. It can mean different things, but it's still something you are exclaiming. Then you can have foei toch. That's like ach shame. So when you feel sympathetic towards someone, it's like foei toch. When you are slightly disgusted with what someone did or you disapprove of what they are doing, you say sis. Or if you just see something gross, you can also say sis. So in English, it'll probably be sis. Maar ons spel het sis in Afrikaans. And then a last one. There's probably, or there is a lot more, but these are the ones that mostly come up in even in your essays that you write. So use your interjections in your essays. It expresses feeling. But these are the ones that mostly come up and they cover most of the feelings. So so if you are saying, I know, ouch, that means you are in pain. So you exclaimed in pain or shouted in pain. So you will have your start. So let me write an example. So I'm going to write this in a lighter color. And let's use a light blue because they don't really have a gray. So you will have something like in the answer now, you will write something like David skree. This will unlikely be say, it will usually be skree. David skree. Then you have your interjection now that you are paraphrasing. So jy kan ietsie sê, David skree met 'n uitroep van pyn. So this first part, yeah, met 'n uitroep van, will work with all of it. And then the emotion, you need to write whatever emotion fits. Or you can, for this one, you can keep it simple and just say skree in pyn. Can also just have that. But in isn't a preposition that will work for all of them. So you're going to have to change the preposition up. But if you choose this option that I highlighted, you can use that for all of them. And then you just write whatever the emotion is. And then you complete your sentence that you learned when we did the commands and the statements. Now you add your dot. And then you complete your sentence ending with your verb one. Right. So you need to paraphrase that. You cannot have David skree eina dat hy sy toon gestamp het. No, that's going to be wrong. You're going to throw away marks because eina is not allowed to be used when you are busy with indirect speech. Eina is for direct speech and in pyn of met 'n uitroep van pyn, that is for indirect speech. So ag so that's the first one. So I'm just going to write this black part down now for all the other examples, but the blue shows you how it will fit into your sentence. So for ag you can say skree of sê met teleurstelling of met 'n uitroep van teleurstelling you can have. Teleurstelling is disappointment. Hoera kan wees met blydskap of met 'n uitroep van blydskap. Or you can also have opgewondenheid. Guys, you cannot write opgewonde. You cannot shout with excited. You shout with excitement. So dit sal dan wees of met opgewondenheid. So you choose one and you study that one with hoera. Blydskap, I think personally, is a bit easier to memorize than opgewondenheid. You cannot write hy shout hy skree met opgewonde dat. You cannot say he shouts with excited that. It is he shouts with excitement. If you write excited, it's a grammar error. So you show lack of comprehension and proper communication, so you will not get the mark. Tumar. Tumar is, I said, like you are comforting someone. So when you comfort someone, dan troos jy hulle. So tumar, let's use this first one again. Skree of sê met 'n uitroep van troos. Troos is comfort. When you comfort someone, dan troos jy hulle met 'n uitroep van troos. Of okay, let's do this. Of jy kan sê met, this is a big word, met vertroosting. See how if you just memorize like this orange phrase, met 'n uitroep van, and then just an emotion. So you can say met 'n uitroep van teleurstelling, met 'n uitroep van blydskap, met 'n uitroep van troos, because in some instances, like in this instance, it's much easier to memorize the word troos than it is to memorize the word vertroosting. But that means comfort. You're comforting someone. Okay, when you say what, it's similar to shu, you are shocked, or you're just in major disbelief. So met 'n uitroep van skok, or you can say met ongeloof. Disbelief is ongeloof. Met ongeloof. And this one can also work for shu. So I'm just going to highlight it. Again, sorry for those of you who are colorblind. You must just pay attention to what I'm saying. Met 'n uitroep van skok of met ongeloof can be with shu also. Okay. Met 'n uitroep van skok, you can also have verbasing instead of skok. When you are more surprised than shocked, dan sê jy verbaas. But depending on the scenario that you are engaging in, according to the picture or the theme of the questions, because the questions will always have the same theme, you can decide, is it shock, surprise, or disbelief. Fuitog is the same almost as tumar, where it's comfort, but fuitog is more like, so you can use it when you are comforting someone, but it's more like you are trying to show sympathy. You're feeling sorry for this person. So nou sê ons met 'n uitroep van, met 'n uitroep van simpatie. So remember, you'll have the juffrou skree of juffrou sê met simpatie. You don't need that part. You can just have met simpatie. As long as you are paraphrasing the interjection using the correct emotion. So that doesn't mean you change the emotion, like here you write excited instead of excitement. You change the emotion there. But as long as you've expressed the correct emotion and not used the interjection in your answer, the chances that you will get the mark is quite high. So again, it must make sense. So you must write the correct version of the emotion. You can't write excited when you say he's saying with excitement. You can't say saying with excited. It is not grammatically correct. It's still a language paper. But if you have any emotion that can work in that situation and in that sentence, then you will get the mark. If all your word order is correct, also remember that. Sis is when you are a bit like, no, thank you. That's disgusting. How dare you? I'm very disappointed in this because it's not really something that I approve of. So as I say sis. So I'm not going to write something for shu now because shu and vat, what I wrote next to vat will work for shu as well. Maar sis is dan something like met afkeer. That's disapproval. He says with disapproval. Met afkeer of met afgryse. That's disgust. So afkeer is disapproval. Afgrys is afgryse. That is disgust. He says or screams with disgust. And uh, in in some cases, maybe it can even be anger. Because I know I like to say it in my classroom when the whole class is done very badly. I like to say sis, and I'm kind of aggravated. So you can even say met irritasie can work. It depends on the scenario, but it's mostly afkeer of afgryse because sis means something is yuck. So afkeer of afgryse, disapproval or disgust. That is the best options for that. But depending on the situation, you can have miskien ook irritasie sê met of nee, met irritasie. Met irritasie. And in some cases, but very seldomly, it can even be woede in anger. Okay. So that is how you answer that. So let's look at a few examples. So let me just do one. Die meisie sê, can be sê or skree, both can work. Kom ons sê foei tog. So remember earlier I said you can have an exclamation or a comma. So I'll write another example like that. Foei tog haar hond is siek. So she's just saying someone's dog is sick. So then in your test, I will either just write die meisie sê or I'll put die meisie sê met. So for the sake of this, let's do this first example and say die meisie sê met. So I'll probably, if you are in grade 9, I'll put it like this, dash, 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 and then put a dot and dot, dot, dot. So in grade 9, I'll probably ask it like that. In grade 10, I'll take the dot away and just put the met, but from grade 11, I'll stop at say. And then you need to know the rest. So in matric, depending on the examiner, you can get it any of those three ways. But I'm training you to know what to do without any help. If you get help, you're lucky. If you don't, you are also fine. You'll be able to do it. So in grade 9, I'll ask it like this. So, and then in grade 10, I'll take the dot away. And in grade 11, maybe at the end of grade 10 in your November exam, I'll already take everything away. Die meisie sê met, so it could be like this, or it could only be up to say, and you get nothing else after say. So then in your answer, in your exam, you will write die meisie sê, ag, skus, I left out die meisie. Die meisie sê met, so dis vloeitog. So I said you can say met 'n uitroep, but I mean there's oh, there must be an exclamation, sorry guys, because we have an exclamation uh interjection there. So you can say sê of met skreeu, 'n uitroep van would sound slightly better. En dan just saying sal dan met simpatie will sound slightly better. Sê met simpatie dat haar hond siek is. So she says her dog's sick. So even if I'm retelling it, I'll say the girl said that her dog, that other girl, her. So this is 100% fine. Okay, let's look at another example. Ek kom ons sê die juffrou had a little bit of a glitch there. Let me just fix it. Die juffrou sê 6. Or let's make this skree rather. I think skree will work a bit better, yeah? Die juffrou skree. This is what I do when I set up your tests, by the way. I have a question in mind. I type it out and I'm like, no. Let's rather use this introductory. But die juffrou skree 6. Kom ons sê sit jou hand voor jou mond as jy gaap. So this is actually this turned out to be a good one because I have a few rules in this one that I've touched on now throughout or over the course of video 8 so far, 8.1 and this. So let's see how you guys do in this one. If how this answer turns out is the answer you expected it to be. Okay, so let's just see what happened here. I just need to make some space here. I thought I spaced it nice, but I didn't. Okay. So again, you'll get something in your question paper like die juffrou skree. So let's pretend you're now older, or I think you're ready to get it like this now without me adding anything there. So this is how you'll get it in the test. So answer. So I tell you how to start. So that's how you start in your answer book. Die juffrou skree. So cease. Let's see. What did you study under cease? We says met afkeer, afgryse, irritasie of woede. It is put your hand in front of your mouth when you yawn. So kom ons sê sommer net afkeer because I disapprove of that. I don't want to see down your throat. So die juffrou skree met afkeer of met 'n uitroep van afkeer. Let's write that whole one since we didn't have that in the previous one, just so that you have an example. Skree met 'n uitroep van afgryse. So remember, in the memo, they'll have all the options. If it's right, it works and you'll get the mark. If you've made a grammar error that affects the meaning of the sentence, it's wrong. If you get the rule wrong, it's wrong. This is now where you must paraphrase the interjection and then put the correct conjunction there and move your verbs to the correct place. So all that is taken into consideration when we mark. It's either right or wrong. There's no half marks. So if you make a language error, yeah, it's wrong. Or grammar error, it's wrong. So now, skree gets a dot. But why was I so happy about this sentence after I wrote it? Because one of the previous examples that we had is, what if there's another conjunction? I think the example I had a want, yeah. But now we have a as. Remember dawn rule? Dan as wanneer nou. As is definitely a conjunction. So it's a group 2 conjunction. When this means if you yawn. Okay, so it is a conjunction. So kom ons kyk gou-gou hierso. Die juffrou skryf met 'n uitroep van afgryse dat. So now we have a command. Guys, what did we learn under commands earlier? Let's just go back. We also have a command here. So there's quite a few stuff that's being combined here, and I feel very happy about it. So see, we had here, juffrou skree dat sy. See, we had do your work. So we added sy. So we added a subject or a pronoun, and we changed the verbs and moved the verbs around and changed all the pronouns how we were supposed to. And we added a mood. Guys, so let's apply that. Met 'n uitroep van afgryse dat, so jou can be hy of sy. That kom ons sê is a boy that yawned without putting his hand in front of his mouth. Dat hy sy hand, jou hand changes to sy hand, his hand, that he must put his hand. Dat hy sy hand voor sy mond moet sit, and then from that conjunction, it's just as, hy, op. You just copy and paste it at the back. So that little last part there. It won't make sense if you put it dat hy sy hand voor sy mond. No, this is the only way it makes sense. You can't have it any other way. It won't make sense. Sometimes even there's rules that to an Afrikaans home language speaker, the rule doesn't sound right, but it's just because we are so used to speaking wrong that even sometimes we don't realize the errors that we make. For instance, stompie isn't a thing that we are cognizant about at all in home language. We put our adverbs anywhere in the sentence where it will make sense, as long as we can communicate effectively. And you can also do that if you are chatting with someone, but not if you are being tested on, do you actually know the rule? Right. So there is your examples of going from direct to indirect. So this is a very short video, but I think it will be better if I have a new video with a new heading labeled indirect to direct. So I'll see you in that next video.